my name is Suzanne, and I am the props master here at the Alliance Theater in Atlanta, Georgia. Considering the weird times we are currently finding ourselves in, I'm answering a long time request for a reupholstery tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how I do it. Reupholstery for stage is sometimes a little different than reupholstery for what would be typically in a home. And my technique is a combination of methods. So today I'm going to show you using this Ottoman. So here's the Ottoman. I'm going to start. 1, 2, 3, go.
Yep.
First I remove the legs. And so now that the legs are finally off, I'm going to remove the staples from the bottom here. Some people think that it's okay to just staple fabric over things, and I just don't do that because I like the staples to be gone so that they don't hinder my progress when I'm reupholstering something. So these are my favorite dikes. They're springy, and I just pull my staples and throw them because that's fun. I know that they make specific staple pulling tools. I use those. Oh, neat. Double dust protection. So the next step here, and this part probably doesn't have to come off, but the next step here will be just to remove the staples all the way around again, with taking the fabric off our Ottoman. I'm going to go the other direction this time just to mix things up a bit. The last one. It's funny that just discovered that this has fabric underneath. So for these buttons, I'm just going to snip them. I can show you all tufting techniques another day. So that's fun. All right. Woo. So I reupholstered the chair that matches this Ottoman earlier, and it did not have fabric underneath it. It had batting. And so what I'm going to do now is go get some batting and put that over this, and then we'll upholster from there. For this, I'm just piecing together. the important part there. Okay, so for this Ottoman, I'm using fabric that used to be curtains. Won't it be gorgeous? Gonna make sure there are no staples underneath the fabric. There's no need to iron your fabric because you're gonna pull it tight and all the wrinkles that are in it come out. So, okay, so putting your fabric on, I always work from center to the corners. And so I will start on this side, turn it around, and make sure that I stretch on the opposite side. And I use pneumatic staple gun, fabric stapler that I have at work. I'm lucky. If you don't have one, you can use a T50 stapler. I dislike those because it hurts my hands. But, you know, if that's what you got, that's what you got. I believe in theater a lot of things are glued and just done temporarily, but it doesn't last very long. Anyway, so here I go. Always smooth with my whole hand, sometimes my whole arm, depending on the size of the piece. Instead of pulling. I hope that's not too loud. Eh. If you pull just like this, you're going to have a pucker, and that's bad. People don't like that. So I use my whole hand to smooth. Working from the middles to the corners. Luckily with this fabric there aren't any crazy prints or plaid or flowers to try to match up. That it's totally doable, but it takes more time to make it look nice. I have stapled all the way to the corners and I have lots of extra fabric here, so I'm going to start trimming. Don't make the mistake of trimming too close. You can always trim more later, but sometimes you need that extra fabric to make a fun fold or something. Ottomans are pretty easy. There's no extra cushions normally, and you don't have to tuck anywhere. Like in chairs and sofas, you have to tuck the fabric and ease around all the extra pieces of wood that are hidden in there. This is a simple first project. Do you recommend investing in some fabric scissors? Don't cut your toenails with those, or paper. Don't open beer cans with it. Just fabric. Okay, so see we have extra fabric here on the corners. We're not going to leave it that way. I have my favorite pins, some thread, kind of goes. So at this stage, give it about an inch away from the corner and just cut straight down. Sometimes you have to pull a staple that you put in out. Ease around the corner there and turn this in. In this case, I'm going to give this a snip just so that it'll lay nice. I have a nice seam. I'm going to put these pins in here, but there's a possibility that I'll need to tighten them up, take them out and do them again. You don't want a lot of fabric bunched up in this area because this is where your legs are going to go back on. And if your fabric's bunched up, there's a potential for them not to sit square. Okay. So right now that's looking okay. I'm going to whip stitch the corners closed when I get to that point. But I'm going to do the other three. I'm going to pin them right now. For my thread, try to go a little bit longer than the part that I'm going to sew. And I always double my thread. I don't know why. That's how I tie a knot. do too. As it turns out, my seams all go in the same direction because I'm right-handed maybe. All right, so now I'm gonna whip stitch. Okay, so I turned the Ottoman over because to me, going at it this way feels better. And so what I do is I go in, can you see? Mm-hmm. And I make sure that I tuck that knot in. And then I come back out to the edge of the fabric with my needle. And I get it caught on my pins every single stitch, so prepare yourself for that frustration. All right, so to me, a simple whip stitch is what I do. If you have more patience, do a ladder stitch. Just catching just a couple of threads on each side because you don't want the stitch to be prominent. I'm going to flip the Ottoman over so I can tie a knot. Now I feel like I'm doing it backwards. And this is how I tie a knot. Just grab a couple of threads from your fabric. Go around, hold that there. Pull your needle through. And then I always bury and snip that way. Okay, so all the corners are put stitched together. So what I'm going to do now is trim fabric from around the area that the legs will be attached back onto. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is close the bottom up with the dust cover fabric. And I always just turn it under so it's neat. Just make a little edge and turn it under just a little bit, like 1/2 inch. And I also work from the center to the corners, just like you're stretching a canvas. And so I'm not going to turn all that under, I'm going to trim it. And I try to stretch this pretty tight whenever I'm stretching it. Okay. Keep in mind that no one really sees this part. It's always in the shadow on stage. In your house, it's also, its purpose is just to keep bugs and dust out. If I were upholstering using light fabric, white or, I don't know, pink, something like that, I would definitely put brown paper down on my table to keep the fabric clean. I don't think it makes too much of a difference with this shade of fabric because of the color of my table. Lots of old paint. There. Shop dust. Okay, so from this point, I'm just going to continue out to the corners, and I'll show you the last corner when I do it. Okay, so what I do here is I just kind of turn it, fold it there, and then fold it again. Make it nice and neat. And then stretch it. This fabric has some give to it, so it pulls tight. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is put the legs back on. Okay, so now it's a matter of finding where they go. And I believe I'm going to use the special foot one first. And just, I push straight through the dust cover fabric. Eventually it'll get secure in there. So, here is a completed Ottoman. Isn't it lovely? With its fancy foot. Anyway, so there's a brief tutorial on doing some simple upholstery. Thank you for watching. Happy learning. There's noise coming from the outside. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, let me know. And also, donate to your local theater. There are lots of theaters that are going to be struggling during this time. Make a donation. Thank you.